December 18th, 2024. Michael Vick walks into a press conference at Norfolk State University, not as the electrifying quarterback who once redefined football, not as the disgraced convict who lost everything, but as a head coach with a chance to shape young lives. It's a moment that seemed impossible 17 years earlier, when federal agents raided a property in Virginia and uncovered a secret that would destroy the career of the NFL's most exciting player. This is the story of the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and one of sport's most controversial redemption arcs. This is the rise, fall, and redemption of Michael Vick. Michael Dwayne Vick was born on June 26, 1980, in Newport News, Virginia, a working-class city where football wasn't just a game, it was a way out. Growing up in the Ridley Circle housing projects, Vick learned early that life was about survival and seizing opportunities. His father worked long hours at the shipyard. His mother worked 2 jobs. And young Michael had a gift that would change everything. By the time he reached Warwick High School, Vick wasn't just good, he was transcendent. He could throw the ball 70 yards. He could outrun defensive backs who had angles on him. He moved like a running back but threw like a quarterback, a combination nobody had seen before. College recruiters descended on Newport News like it was the gold rush. Vick chose to stay home, committing to Virginia Tech, and what happened next was nothing short of magical. As a redshirt freshman in 1999, he led the Hokies to an undefeated regular season and the national championship game. Against Florida State in the Sugar Bowl, though Tech lost, the nation witnessed something new. Vick rushed for 97 yards and a touchdown, constantly escaping pressure, making plays that defied physics and logic. The next season, he became the first ever candidate to receive Heisman Trophy votes as a freshman the previous year, and finished 3rd in voting as a redshirt freshman. But by then, everyone knew. Michael Vick wasn't going to stay in college long. April 21st, 2001. The Atlanta Falcons held the 5th overall pick and desperately wanted to move up. They traded up with San Diego, giving up a king's ransom to select Michael Vick 1st overall, the first African-American quarterback ever taken with the #1 pick. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. The league that had historically marginalized black quarterbacks was betting its future on one. And Vick delivered. After sitting behind Chris Chandler initially, he took over in 2002 and immediately became must-see television. He wasn't just playing quarterback, he was reinventing it. The position had always been about pocket passing, reading defenses, and surgical precision. Vick brought something else entirely: chaos, explosiveness, and the constant threat that he might take off running and embarrass your entire defense. In 2002, he led the Falcons to the playoffs and upset Brett Favre and the Green Bay Packers in frozen Lambeau Field, the first playoff road victory in franchise history. Vick threw for 117 yards, but rushed for 64 more on 10 carries, including scrambles that left defenders grasping at air. By 2004, Vick was a phenomenon. He signed a 10-year, $130 million contract extension, the richest deal in league history at the time. He appeared on the cover of Madden NFL 2004, becoming a video game legend, his digital version so overpowered that playing with the Falcons online was practically cheating. Kids everywhere wanted to be like Mike. Not Jordan this time, but Vick. He made 3 Pro Bowls. He led game-winning drives. He produced highlight after highlight, escaping sacks, throwing on the run, leaving defenders in his wake. In 2006, he became the first quarterback in NFL history to rush for over 1,000 yards in a season, finishing with 1,039 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns to go with 2,474 passing yards. Nobody could stop him. Nobody could catch him. Nobody played the position like Michael Vick. He was 26 years old, rich beyond imagination, famous, beloved, and at the absolute peak of his powers. And then, everything came crashing down. April 25, 2007. Authorities executing a drug warrant at a property in Surry County, Virginia, a property owned by Michael Vick, made a disturbing discovery. They found over 60 dogs, most of them pit bulls. They found a fighting ring. They found equipment used for dogfighting. They found evidence of something called bad news kennels. The initial reports were bad. What came next was worse. As investigators dug deeper, the full horror emerged. This wasn't a case of Vick being an absentee landlord unaware of what was happening on his property. Federal prosecutors alleged that Vick was directly involved in running an illegal interstate dogfighting ring since 2001. Dogs were bred, trained, and fought. When they lost or refused to fight, they were killed, hanged, drowned, electrocuted, or slammed against the ground. The public reaction was immediate and volcanic. Animal rights groups protested outside NFL offices. Sponsors dropped Vick faster than he'd once escaped pass rushers. Nike suspended his endorsement deal. Reebok stopped selling his jersey. The NFL told him to stay away from training camp. For months, Vick denied involvement. But as his co-defendants began cooperating with prosecutors and evidence mounted, his legal position became impossible. On August 27, 2007, Michael Vick stood in federal court in Richmond, Virginia, and pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges related to dogfighting.
I want to apologize to all the young kids out there for my immature acts, and what I did was very immature. So that means I need to grow up.
In his statement, he accepted full responsibility, apologized to everyone affected, and asked for forgiveness. But the words felt hollow against the weight of what had been done. Judge Henry Hudson showed little sympathy, describing the enterprise as barbaric and heinous. On December 10, 2007, Vick was sentenced to 23 months in federal prison. Michael Vick entered United States Penitentiary Leavenworth in Kansas as inmate number 33,765-183. The man who'd commanded $130 million now made 12 cents an hour working in prison. The quarterback who'd graced magazine covers was sleeping in a cell. The athlete who'd been unstoppable was confined to a cage, much like the dogs he'd helped imprison and destroy. He served 19 months at Leavenworth, and then completed his time in home confinement for a total of about 21 months in custody. But prison wasn't even his only punishment. He filed for bankruptcy, with debts exceeding $20 million. The NFL suspended him indefinitely. His reputation was destroyed. Poll after poll showed he was one of the most hated figures in American sports. Everything he'd built, the fame, the fortune, the legacy, was gone. At 29 years old, Michael Vick had thrown away one of the most remarkable careers in football history. Most people assumed they'd never see him play again. Most people thought his story was over. They were wrong. After his release in May 2009, Vick faced an uncertain future. Commissioner Roger Goodell conditionally reinstated him in July, but made clear that Vick would need to demonstrate genuine rehabilitation. Most teams wanted nothing to do with him. The media circus, the public relations nightmare, the rust from 2 years away from football. The risks seemed to outweigh any potential reward. But one man believed in second chances: Andy Reid. The Philadelphia Eagles head coach signed Vick to a 2-year contract in August 2009. It wasn't a starting job. Donovan McNabb was still the franchise quarterback. It wasn't guaranteed money, just league minimum with incentives. But it was a chance, and Vick grabbed it with both hands. Vick spent 2009 as a backup, playing sparingly, shaking off rust, proving he could still contribute. Then in 2010, when Kevin Kolb went down with an injury in the season opener, Vick got his shot. What happened next shocked everyone. He wasn't just good, he was better than before. More patient, smarter, Still explosive, but more controlled. In Week 10 on Monday Night Football against the Washington football team, Vick produced one of the greatest individual performances in NFL history. 333 passing yards, 4 touchdown passes, 80 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and a perfect 158.3 passer rating. It was a masterpiece. The Eagles won the NFC East. Vick started 12 games, threw for 3,018 yards with 21 touchdowns against just 6 interceptions, and rushed for 676 yards. He made his 4th Pro Bowl and was named the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Not just coming back from injury, but coming back from prison, from disgrace, from the abyss. He'd done the impossible. Michael Vick was an NFL star again. Vick played 5 more seasons, 3 more with Philadelphia, then stints with the Jets and Steelers, before retiring after the 2015 season. His career stats told an incredible story. Over 22,000 passing yards, 133 passing touchdowns, and 6,109 rushing yards. Still the most by any quarterback in NFL history. But his second act wasn't just about football statistics. It was about genuine change. Was it genuine? Critics remained skeptical. Some animal rights activists said they'd never forgive him, that his crimes were unforgivable. Others pointed to his consistent advocacy work over 15 years as evidence of real transformation. The debate continues. After retirement, Vick transitioned into broadcasting, working as an NFL analyst for Fox Sports. He appeared on various shows, provided game commentary, and became a respected voice in football media. He was rebuilding his life, his reputation, piece by piece. But there was one more chapter to write. On December 18, 2024, Norfolk State University, a historically black university located just 30 miles from where Vick grew up in Newport News, announced that Michael Vick would become their head football coach. It was a stunning move. Vick had no coaching experience. He'd never held a position coaching job, never been a coordinator, never led a program. But Norfolk State saw something else, a native son, a legendary figure who could recruit, inspire, and bring unprecedented attention to their program. For Vick, it represented something profound, coming home, giving back, and using his platform to mentor young black athletes trying to find their own way out, just like he once did. He wouldn't just be teaching them football, he'd be teaching them about choices, consequences, and the possibility of redemption. In his introductory press conference, Vick spoke about second chances, about growth, about wanting to shape young men's lives beyond just wins and losses. "I'm not perfect," he said. "I've made terrible mistakes, but I've also learned from them. And if I can help even one young man avoid the mistakes I made, this will all be worth it." Michael Vick's story doesn't have a neat, comfortable ending. He committed heinous crimes. He served his time. He rebuilt his career and reputation through years of work. Some have forgiven him. Others never will. Both responses are valid. What makes his story compelling isn't that it's a simple redemption tale. It's that it's complicated, messy, and human. It's about extraordinary talent, catastrophic choices, genuine consequences, and the question of whether people can truly change. As Vick begins his coaching career at Norfolk State, he carries all of this with him. The records, the regrets, the comeback, the controversy. He's no longer the electrifying number 7 scrambling away from defenders. He's a 44-year-old man trying to mentor the next generation. Whether his redemption is complete is for each person to decide. But his story, from the projects of Newport News to the heights of NFL stardom, from a federal prison cell to an HBCU coaching office, remains one of the most extraordinary journeys in sports history. The rise was spectacular, the fall was devastating, and the redemption? That's still being written. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe and check out our other deep dives on NFL legends and the moments that defined their careers.